John Harvey, thanks for joining us once again on Ground Cover TV.
Good to be here, Daryl.
I've ambushed you today in Grenfell, New South Wales. What's this all about?
It's an important part of our culture to engage with growers, and of course we do that through our regional panels and our regional cropping solution groups. So it's important also that the staff that spend most of their time in Canberra in our main office also get an opportunity to get out and mix it with growers and see what we're actually on about.
Speaking of Canberra, a big thing on the agenda for agriculture R&D at the moment is the R&D Levies enquiry. What's GRDC's response to the terms of reference?
Well, you're right, Daryl. It is a very important inquiry. It's looking at the R&D and marketing levies right across all sectors in agriculture. And it is a good opportunity, I think, to reflect back on the R&D system and how it works, what works well and what could be improved. But I guess I'd have to say the model has worked well. When we look across Australia, there's been some enormous achievements in the grains industry as a consequence of grains. And that partnership that's endured now for 22 years between the federal government and grain growers, where grain growers pay the levy and it's matched with dollars from the federal government, has allowed GRDC to invest in some really critical research.
Interesting topic of conversation on Ag Chat Oz recently about crowdfunding of agricultural R&D. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's an interesting concept, and often growers will talk about, why is the levy compulsory? Why can't it be a voluntary levy? And it's probably a similar sort of issue. The reality is, though, everybody benefits from the R&D, so it's really important that everyone contributes. I think if we get into a situation where people can access the benefits of R&D without contributing, you end up in a situation where you get free riding and then everyone starts wondering why they're paying, and eventually you have nobody paying.
And there are examples in other agricultural industries where that does lead to volatile funding and other issues.
Yeah, that's right. And we've got 20,000 grain growers in Australia, too small on their own to be doing their own research. It is much more efficient to be grouping up and having one body investing on behalf of all growers, and all growers then sharing the benefit.
So you turn up to the inquiry and you've got a manila folder full of examples of where GRDC's really delivered for the growers. What's at the top of that pile?
I'll just give you one example, our water use efficiency initiative. Working with 17 grower groups and working with John Kirkgard and James Hunt from CSIRO, along with Stuart Kearns from GRDC, looked at setting a target of improving water use efficiency on farm by 10%. And we've, as a consequence of running that project now for over 5 years, we've seen increases in water use efficiency, anything up to 50%. By looking at things like better control of summer weeds, longer season and earlier planting of wheat varieties, combined with good in-crop weed control and disease control. So I guess that's one very practical example of where growers right across the whole of the grains growing belt have actually benefited from being a part of a GRDC program.
So in the end, what's your take-home message from the Levies inquiry?
When we survey growers, 90% of growers believe that R&D is critical to the long-term success of their business. 79% of growers are comfortable or very comfortable paying the levy. And the reason for that is really very simple. They've seen the benefits of R&D on their farm in their lifetime. And I guess it's critical, and it's important that we look at the system and we ask the hard questions about, is it working effectively, or could we make it work better? But at the end of the day, whatever we put in place, it's got to deliver for Australian grain growers, and it's got to deliver the next generation of technologies if the Australian grains industry is going to stay well competitive.
Well, John, enjoy the rest of the day on the bus, and thanks for joining us again.
Always a pleasure, thank you.